Welcome to this free immigration help channel. Today is July 2nd, 2023, and we are getting into the volume 129 of me answering your immigration related questions. As you can see, I have all your comments pulled up in front of me. As always, before beginning this video, I'm going to mention I am not an immigration attorney. This is not a legal advice. All the information provided in these videos on this channel are directly from official government sources like USCIS and of course the Department of State with their visa bulletin. So let's start with the very first question from CS Bonito. Good information, but what's a cover letter that they ask on the online version? Thank you. CS Bonito, great question. Thank you for asking. So that question was asked on the I-589 video, application for asylum, where we're basically describing the step-by-step application process. So it's the same thing for the online, for the cover letter, as the written statement that they request. Basically, the statement where you describe, your story, your life story, based your experience, what happened, based on which you are requesting that asylum status. So basically, you will be going into the details of what happened, all the dates, all the events that happened, because asylum is a serious case. You are escaping from the persecution. You came into the United States, and now you're claiming asylum so that you don't have to go back to the country where you are being persecuted based on religious views, political views, belonging to a certain group. So if you want to learn more about how to write the statement and what you should consider putting into that statement, I actually do have a video on this channel. I think it's called, sorry, I'm very bad with memory of all the videos that I've done, but it's called something like writing asylum statement or how to write asylum story, something along those lines. Check it out. It's an older video, and I probably should make an updated version, but really nothing much changed. So in that video, I describe pretty much everything that you do need to consider. So I would recommend with that, just saving your online application, writing down your statement if you don't have it written down yet. Of course, if you do have it written down somewhere, you can just copy paste it in the online application into the cover letter section. That would be the place for the statement. But if you don't, writing it out separately, whether probably on the computer would be easier, and then just once you proofread it, once you make sure that you've included all the details, because it's really important, because based on that statement you're gonna have your interview, and the questions during the interview are going to be based on that statement. So that statement is probably, I would say, the most important part of the application. So you definitely want to spend time putting all the details, all the information in it, and making sure that you didn't miss any details. And you want to be detailed. You want to be detailed so that, obviously the more details you provide, you also have to provide the evidence that corroborate, that support the details that you're providing in the statement. But that's what the cover letter section is for in the online application. So thank you for your question. That was a great question. Let's move on to the next one from user QK. Sorry, YouTube, they for some reason decided not to show me names anymore. They show me the handles. I don't know why, but good morning. Let's say you have 10 beneficiaries. Where would you add their details, or how does one add them? Example of H2A would be great. Thank you very much for asking. That's a great question. So whenever it comes to I-129, one of the great pluses of, whenever it comes to employment-based stuff, is that you can add a whole bunch of beneficiaries into one application. It makes it convenient, because a lot of times when organization is sponsoring workers, non-immigrant workers, to come and work for the organization here in the United States, you have to understand that a lot of times that organizations that sponsor, that have the capability to sponsor non-immigrant, they're huge organizations. So it's much more beneficial for them to sponsor multiple beneficiaries at the same time. Why not? It's possible. So what you're looking for is attachment 1, and I'll actually show you in the application. Might as well use this opportunity to demonstrate some navigation on USCIS.gov, which is the official government website for U.S. citizenship and immigration services. You probably already know that, so this is for everyone. This is what the front page looks like. You can find the link in the description below. If you're looking for any application, any petition that has to do with anything immigration coming to the United States, you will find it here on this website. In the Forms tab, right here at the very top, so we're going to click on Forms, and then we're going to click on All Forms right here, and this is where you can find all the applications, all the petitions, and they are in alphabetical numerical order, so you can just scroll down. In this case, it's 129, or you can also use the search bar and just type in the number for the form one, like 129, for example. So here you go. This is our I-129 petition for a non-immigrant worker. So I'm going to click on form itself, the PDF right here. Currently, it's not available online, which is kind of sad, but USCIS seems like they are updating more and more forms to be available online, which is really good. So this is the petition itself, the application itself. And I'm gonna scroll all the way down. It's not all the way down, but I'm pretty sure it's like pretty much, it's after all of the basically all of the categories, all of the different categories that are OP, which OP, by the way, would be exception. You can't do multiple beneficiaries in the attachment 1 for OP category, so they have some exceptions, but for H1A you actually can, which is really nice. So let's scroll down some more. This is not it. This is Q, R. Let's see if we can find it. Should be, oh, there you go. So here you go. Attachment 1, and it is on the page. So it's a page 35 out of 36. So attached to Form I-129 when more than one person is included in the petition, the beneficiary that is. So however many beneficiaries, let's say you have 10 beneficiaries, like in your example, you will attach 10 of these attachment 1s to the application. But I would also recommend, whenever you have petitions, applications, information that you're providing in these petitions, applications that is a little bit out of scope, just a little bit extra to the petition application, it's not as straightforward as just application itself. Like for example, here you will be attaching multiple pages of attachment 1. I would recommend adding a simple cover letter at the very top of the application package, just addressing to USCIS, saying, hey, dear sir or madam, whatever, being professional, polite as always, being official, introducing yourself, explaining what you're requesting, and just letting them know that they will find in this application package several, let's say 10, like in your example, 10 attachments 1. or attachment 1s in this application package, because you are requesting for 10 non-immigrant workers. And that makes it much easier of a job for an immigration officer that is reviewing your application, because once they open it, at the very top they see this cover letter, they read it quickly, so don't make it too long, and they already know what to expect in the application. You kind of prevent possible mistake, possible whatever misplacement, or they didn't see it, or they don't have to go through the whole application package to see that this application is for 10 beneficiaries. It's just kind of a courtesy, and it really does help and prevent a lot of unnecessary back and forth. So that's it right here. Okay, so let me go back to the homepage of USCIS and let me post my response here, and we're gonna move on to the next question. Also, I wanted to recommend, by the way, I wanted to recommend one thing. There are some instances where it might be where you don't have to provide the names of all the beneficiaries. You can just put the number of the beneficiaries. There are exceptions to that. If they're here in the United States, then you do have to provide the names of everyone. So 10 attachment 1s. And also there are some situations that you might benefit from submitting a separate petition for each beneficiary. I would recommend reading through the instructions, because the instructions for the Form I-129, they describe those in a great detail. So I would definitely recommend checking that out. But you can definitely do this easiest way to add all of them, and just be done with it, really. Okay, let's move on to the next one from Inshaf Nazir 7814. I am from Sri Lanka. Our visa category is F441, so F4, forced priority category. Priority date is 2005. When filing the application in 2005, my parents were divorced, so my uncle has only filed for my dad. In 2019, when I was 20 years old, they added my name. So in 2019, 20 years old, so it's 2023, so you are now 24. They added my name in the application and fees was paid. Civil documents were provided and DS-260 was also filed. And after that, recently I was removed from the application now because you're 25. And my father has received an email stating that he will receive the interview date within 60 days. Will I be able to travel with my father? Inshaf Nazir, I'm very sorry this happened to you. So you are, became one of those very, very prominent examples of how unfair, the system is. It's really sad. I'm sorry this happened to you because, your father has been waiting since 2005. And in 2005, you were what? If you turned in 2019, you were like what, 4, 5 years old? And man, this really sucks. Sorry you're going through this. They removed you from the application because that's it. You basically aged out. And this is what I explained in the CSPA video that you commented on. And unfortunately, you really can't take advantage of the CSPA unless your father's petition was pending with USCIS. The I-130 itself was pending for over your 25, so over 4 years, which most of the times it's not. But honestly, if it wasn't, they wouldn't remove you. They removed you because they know that it wasn't pending for more than 4 years and that you just don't qualify under that CSPA. So you cannot take advantage of the Child Status Protection Act and go for that interview with your father, basically be a derivative beneficiary under the I-130 petition because you aged out. So, man, that really sucks. I'm sorry you're going through this. So you have a few options. One thing that you can do is you can try to apply for a non-immigrant visa and travel with your father. And once your father obviously comes into the United States, he will already be a permanent resident. As soon as he comes into the United States, he will have to file the petition for you. It will take time. You will be waiting for quite a long time again because it's going to be what is it? I think it's going to be F2B. Let me double check. I'm going to take a look at the unmarried sons and daughters 21 years of age or older is F2B category. And currently the wait time for the F2B for the availability of the immigrant visas is about roughly 8 years. So another 8 years you will be waiting now for your immigrant visa as an adult, as someone who is over 21. And keep in mind, this is also for unmarried sons and daughters. And then, once your father gets his citizenship, he can update it to F1, and or if you're married by then, it can be F3 category. But as of right now, that's really the only thing that you can do is either apply for, non-immigrant visa right now just to travel with your father to come to the United States. Obviously, you won't be able to stay in the United States with this non-immigrant status. You will just be able to come and visit. But, once your father comes into the United States with his immigrant visa and gets his permanent residence, which he will as soon as he enters the United States, he will have to submit his own I-130 petition for you and basically do the same process as as your uncle did for your father. Man, sorry again that you're going through this. This is really bad, and I'm glad that you commented on at the same time, so that other people who are watching these videos, they see that stuff like this is happening. And this is the real problem with immigration, and unfortunately we don't hear about stuff like this on the news. People who did everything legally, who waited for since 2005. Think about this. That's 18 years. 18 years. For 18 years the petition was pending, not pending, but waiting for the immigrant visa to become, available, for the priority date to become current, and aged out. Sad, very sad. Okay, let's move on to the next question from Clara P6467. And Clara, thank you very much for being a public subscriber. I really appreciate it. This is what this icon means. Thank you for answering my question about I-539 and I-539A. We'll wait for your tutorial on filing extension for dependents, spouse, and children. Your channel is really great help for many. Stay safe. Thank you very much, Clara. I appreciate your kind comment. I will definitely get on that video. We'll definitely take care of that. So really appreciate your kind comment, and I'm glad my answer was helpful. Okay, let's move on to the next question coming from the Great Invisible 5481. Hi, my friend. I got my green card through EB2, so employment based. I filed my green card application concurrently with I-824 follow to join for my wife and children. I am from Nigeria. The I-824 case is documentarily complete at NVC, and our priority date is October 29, 2021. What is documentarily complete? And hope we get our interview at Lagos soon. Great, so congratulations, documentarily complete, documentarily qualified at NVC means that's it, everything is good, all of the documents were accepted, approved, so now you're really just waiting for the interview. Whenever it comes to employment-based stuff, it's in most cases it takes much faster, especially for the EB2, especially for these follow to join requests for the dependents. So honestly, because you're October 20, so like 2022, early 2022, so it's been a little bit over a year and a half. I would say your interviews for them is for your wife and kids is anywhere around the corner, really. And I'm pretty sure it has been already scheduled. They are just waiting for to send the actual notice when the interview was scheduled. One thing that you can do, if you want, you can reach out, or your wife can reach out to the U.S. Embassy in Nigeria and ask them, say, hey guys, we are in this status, we were already documentarily qualified, we're just waiting to go through the interview. I was wondering when the interview was scheduled for, because I'm pretty sure it was already scheduled. And sometimes, not always, but sometimes you actually get someone on the phone who is willing to answer these questions, and they give you, when the interview was scheduled. If you want to find where U.S. embassies, the contact information for really any U.S. embassy around the world, in our case it's Nigeria, so let's take a look. The website is called usembassy.gov. This is official government website for all of the embassies around the world. So all of the U.S. embassies around the world, let me say that. So we're going to scroll to N, let's see, Nigeria, and there you go, U.S. Embassy in Abuja. I'm assuming that's where, the interview is going to take place. Here's their telephone number, give them a call and ask them. Don't be too upset if they don't give you any information, because sometimes they don't, and in most cases, like I said, they don't, but it's worth a shot, it's worth a shot. Okay, let's move on to the next common question from Susie and George. Jordoc 6261. Susie and George, thank you for another comment. Always appreciate your comments. Thank you for your helpful information. Appreciate it. Do you have any update about what will happen with the COVID vaccine mandate for adjustment of status? It will be lifted at any time? Not at the moment. Not at the moment. It is still in place, and I actually just looked at it like a few days ago, and I actually just sent another message. Not such, well, polite. Not polite, actually. Professional, but not polite. More on with a little bit of a demanding tone, because the rest of the world can come into the country back and forth without any problems. But whenever it comes to the adjustment of status, people doing everything legally, waiting, and they are required to get vaccinated. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous for all the vaccinations, but especially for this COVID vaccination that is still a mandate for the people that have, that are applying for the adjustment of status. And I would recommend for everyone who's watching this video, if you're dealing with this, if you think it is unfair, it's up to you. If you want to get vaccinated, it's up to you. There's plenty of places where you can go and get vaccinated. But whenever it comes to mandating that stuff, first of all, it's not fair, because literally nobody else is no longer mandated to take a COVID vaccination. And yet the immigrants that are applying for the adjustment of status are. It's ridiculous. It's not fair. It's not right. So I would recommend everyone who's watching this video, reaching out to you can send the email, you can send the mail, whatever you want, to USCIS, to the Department of State, to the Department of Homeland Security. But I would recommend definitely sending a letter or email to your local elected officials, especially if you're in the United States. If you're applying for adjustment of status, you're most likely already here in the United States of America. So do your research. Who is a senator of your state, who is a congressman from your district, and send them email or a letter, whatever you want. They all have their websites, they all have their contact information. That's what they're there for. They're there to represent the interests of the public, and they don't, clearly, at least not of the legal immigrants, which is honestly, the word legal immigrants, it doesn't really even too worth it. They don't make sense, because there's only one type of immigrants, and it is legal immigrants. But that's a whole different conversation. So I would definitely recommend doing this. You do have an option now to file a waiver like you could before for the medical examination. I think it's I-601. In fact, let me see if I can double check myself. I believe it's 601, but let's see if sometimes I bad with numbers. Actually, I'm always bad with numbers. There you go. Application for waiver of grounds of inadmissibility. They called it this. It's a dumb name as well. Ground of inadmissibility, right? So you're inadmissible because you don't have a COVID vaccination. Wow, you're inadmissible. Yeah, okay. So you've been in the country for the past 10 years, and now all of a sudden you're inadmissible. So stupid. But anyway, but the problem with this waiver is that it's $930. So and another problem is that when you're filing this waiver, $930, you're also risking that getting denied, because the only time they approve this waiver for specifically the COVID vaccine, and they have it, you can find the wording on this website, on USCIS website, you can actually find that wording, is when the availability of the COVID vaccine is limited in the country where you're applying, where you have to go through the medical examination. There is age restriction, there is health restriction that prohibits you getting that COVID vaccination. So there are a few things. If you just say, I don't want to get it, it's just not good enough of a reason for them, which is ridiculous. But that's the world that we live in today. So I'm sorry, Susie and George, no good news on that yet. But I monitor that stuff. I stay on top of it. As soon as it is removed, I'll actually make a separate video complaining about how stupid this requirement was, how much it didn't make sense, and how dumb it is that it was the last one that we were, the immigrants that are applying for adjustment status were the last one to get that mandate removed for them. Wow. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Maybe less of a emotional question. Ted Murray 711, why is the interview for FB taking so long? Priority date 4th March 2015, documentarily qualified October 2020, F1, all chargeability. Alrighty, let's take a look, see what's going on with F1 in October 2020. So let's see, graph A, because you're already documentarily qualified. So F1 is right now December 2014. Okay, December 2014, and you are March 2015. Okay, so you are roughly about, let's see, December, I'm gonna just count from December, so January, February, you're like 3 months away from the availability of the immigrant visa. So once it is available, the interview will be scheduled. I would allow another few months, 2-3 months for the scheduling of the interview, depending on which country you're from. In some countries, U.S. embassies, they're a little bit busier. In some countries, there's a little bit more availability whenever it comes to immigration visa appointments at the U.S. embassy. So yeah, you're really close now. You're almost there. 3 more months for the availability of the immigrant visa, couple months for the administrative processing when the interview is scheduled, and that's it. So you're right around the corner. Okay, so let me pause this, and we're gonna move on to the next question coming from Luvi. I never filed AR-11 since entry in the United States. However, I did update my address in USPS and have been updated my driver's license address always. Okay, so whenever it comes to address change, it's if you do have the immigration petition or application, definitely always the first thing you want to update is, the address with USCIS. The first thing, because that's like probably, one of the most important things, one of the top priorities when you come into the country. And if you have, again, petition or application with USCIS, you want to keep them updated. You don't want to miss those notices. If you don't have anything with USCIS, then of course, yes, just the driver's license and USPS is more than enough. Okay, let's move on to the next question comment from Abhimani Wikrama, 5732. If the part 5 answer is widowed, do I have to fill 4A, 4B information about your current marriage? Thank you very much for your question. It's a great question. So I'm pretty sure you don't have to, but let me just double check. I'm going to take a look at the I-485. So we're going to go to the forms. Now I'm going to just use this and type in 485. There you go, application to register permanent residence. So I'm going to open the application itself. Let's see. Part 5, 4A and 4B. So let's take a look. So we got 4A, part 5. No, that's part 5. Gonna scroll down to part 5. There you go. Information about your marital history. So what's your current? So you put in the widow and your... Let's see, information about your current, including if you are legally separated. So no, that's not the case. If you're currently married, provide the following information about your current spouse. 4A, 4B, nope, you don't need to provide any of this. Current spouse, place of birth, nope. Place of marriage, current spouse, nope, you're not filling any of this information. This is the information that you will be filling out. Part 5, so you will fill out this part right here. Part 5, 1 and 2, and then 3, you are skipping all of this stuff, but obviously, if you're doing, you're doing the paper application, so all of this, I would, not applicable, don't leave any blank spaces. It's very important. USCIS, they don't like blank spaces in paper applications. They might, and a lot of at times they do send those applications back if there's blank spaces, especially in places like this where there are names involved. So make sure you fill out all of this was not applicable, and then you're gonna be filling out part 5, and that's where you will put your marital history and your prior marriages. So thank you very much for your question. Let me post the response here, and we're gonna move on to the next comment from Malgorzata, and I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Malgorzata, but I might be wrong. Danilovska, 1640. My application is family-based. My medical exam will expire in 10 days. It was completed without COVID vaccination. I'm still waiting for the interview, so I will have to redo Form I-693. It's so unfair. Wow. Yeah, that is definitely unfair. That's messed up. The only thing I'm gonna ask, Malgorzata, if you can, let everyone know, because I'm kind of interested myself. I was pretty sure that these medical examinations are only valid for like 30 days, I think. And within 30 days, once you do it, you have to send it with the application. So if yours expires in 10 days, so you only got it like recently, and this requirement to get the COVID vaccine for the medical examination for the adjustment of status, it was required already. It's already a requirement for like, I think it's since 2021 or something. So like 2 years at least, I would say, probably close to 2 years. So let me know, and I'm sure other people would be interested too. How does this happen? How did you get the I-693 without that COVID shot, without the requirement for COVID shot? Because I was pretty sure it was only valid for like 30 days. So yes, if you can follow up with a comment, I would really appreciate it. Sorry you're dealing with this. This is dumb requirement. Please submit your, that goes for everyone. If you're submitting the separate, if you have another question, or if you're follow up, please submit it as a separate comment. Don't respond to my comment within your comment, because YouTube does not send me those notifications for some reason. All right, let's take care of probably last comment question for today from Ramsey Spudas, I don't know. Both are possible. Thank you, by the way, for being publicly subscribed. I really, really appreciate it. So comment is, hello, thank you. Can I make the application for somebody in USA, but I am in another country? Great question. And I actually had similar questions before. Yes, absolutely. You know, if you're helping your relative, if you're doing something along those lines, if you're helping out your friend and you know they're asking you for the advice, or you can definitely do that. It's not going to be a problem. I would not recommend, obviously, you know, I'm not even going to mention, you know, somebody trying to provide a service for somebody. That I would not get into, because I don't provide any services myself. And you know, whenever it comes to legalities of providing those services, I'm not aware of them, and I don't want to get into that at all. This is not my. That's why it's free immigration help channel. That's why it always will be free immigration help channel. I'll never have any kind of service helping out somebody fill out an application for money or anything along those lines, because that wouldn't be help. That would be service. So again, if you're helping out somebody, yes, you don't have to worry about nothing. Whenever it comes to help will never be illegal. The day help becomes illegal, which we might see that day, considering where the society is going, where the world is going, unfortunately, because you know we have people that want to take control of everything and have their pockets in everything, and you can't when it comes to help, because, well, that's help. There is no money involved. It's literally just help. And so we might see the day when it becomes legal. So we'll see. But yes, whenever it comes to helping somebody fill out the application, if you're, you know, interpreting, translating, helping, you know, for example, a person, let's say it's your relative, and they are not capable. They don't know how to use, for example, a computer, and they need help filling out the online application. You're doing it for them. That's absolutely completely fine. And even if it is outlawed, it's still going to be fine to me completely, because the laws of this world, you know, don't, you know, mean much to people that are under God's law. That's the important law that we need to keep. But thank you everyone for your questions, for your comments. Always appreciate it. If you have any follow-up questions, like I said, you're always more than welcome to ask them on as many as you have. It's a blessing for me to be able to, if my answers are helpful, that's a blessing for me. So thank you very much for watching. God bless, and I'll see you all in the next video.